What's up, boys and girls? The Gypsy. Back at it again. Well, guys, this is going to be a prediction video for the upcoming fight this weekend, with David Benevidez and Caleb Plant. I think this is, at first for me, it was kind of complicated to pick who's going to be the winner of this fight, but I have come to the conclusion with 100% certainty. You can probably even bet on this fight if you want to. That there's one clear victor. I've analyzed both fighters. I've looked into how they fight. I mean, I said in my last video that Caleb Plant, at the ending of my last video, I think, that Caleb Plant is the better boxer between the two. And that is true. He still is. If that doesn't change anything, in my opinion, hasn't changed ever since I said that. But one thing I did say was Caleb Plant didn't really beat Uzgatagi, and I think he did after rewatching it. I don't know, maybe the third time I watched it, because the first time I thought he won. The second time I watched it, I don't know for what reason I thought he lost. I thought it was a draw to maybe 2 points, but after watching it, I think he won the first 8 rounds again. This is hopefully the last and final. I mean, most likely my last and final time I watched Caleb Plant's fights, Uzgatagi, and he won the first 8, and obviously dropped him in the first 4 rounds, and the last 4 he degraded. I guess when I watched it the second time, I thought Uzgatagi took the rounds from 5 and up, is because I thought there was from number 5 to 8. I thought there was effective aggression from Uzgatagi, but when you really look at it, he was the one getting countered. He was the one getting hit. You know, for every one punch he landed, he got clipped with 3-4 other punches from Caleb Plant. So the right man had won, and I actually had bet this fight. I put like $200 on this fight when this fight actually took place for Plant to win. And I got a decent amount of return because I think he was an underdog. But I thought it was pretty obvious that he should have won because he had the better skill. And he still has the better skill over Benevidez. But there is a thing with Benevidez that would change the outcome of this fight in the favor of him. And it's one of the most obvious things in boxing, that sometimes I've predicted my fights wrong because of these things, because I never considered these things. And that's punch output. Punch output. Benevidez has a lot more punch output than Caleb Plant does. I haven't sit there and counted the punch output, but like based on the fights and what I'm noticing, especially 5 years ago with Ronald Gavril. Yeah, man. Every time he got hit by Gavril, he would deliver a few shots of his own. It's like Benevidez is not the type of guy that gets hit and, you know, wait until let me trap you. You know what I mean? Let me put you in a zone where I can actually really hurt you. No, it's like, you hit me, oh fuck you, I'm gonna hit you right back. Like, and he doesn't care. Well, I won't say he doesn't really care. Like, he does care, but he's kind of like Triple G in the nature, where he doesn't mind getting hit as long as he gets his shots in. But more along the lines with more punch output than, say, Golovkin, for sure. Shouldn't be calling him Triple G. Should be calling him Golovkin. For all the cowardice stuff that he did in his career, looking only for Canelo fights. It's ridiculous. Strong guy. Anyways, that's a different story. Strong, good fighter, but avoids fighting anybody at 168. Unless it's Canelo. It's hilarious. Anyways, and now he stripped. I think he let go of his titles or something too. Whatever. That's different story, different person, different boxer. We're talking about David Benevidez and Caleb Plant here. So yeah, the punch output is a major thing that Caleb Plant will eventually succumb to and probably get stopped by Benevidez in maybe rounds 8 to 10, somewhere around that area. I think he'll survive. I think he'll, use some lateral movement, avoid getting hit, and then set traps. The first few rounds is going to be horrible for Benevidez. Benevidez might even get dropped the first few rounds. Who knows? When I say first few rounds, I'm saying like 1 through 6, somewhere in that area. He might get dropped. Because the reason being is because Benevidez, when he throws punches, he sometimes, yes, he does. He steps in with his guard, high guard, but when he sees an opening where the guy he's fighting against takes a step back to reset or anything like that, he thinks that's an opportunity automatically to throw the kitchen sink at the guy. You know what I mean? Body shot with the lead hand to fucking maybe even straight up uppercut, right? Like how he was kind of doing to Lemieux. You know what I mean? Everything, just throws everything. And that could be a problem when you're fighting Caleb Plant, because Caleb Plant has a decent left hook that as you can see what happened to Darrell, put him out, went for a body shot, and then I think he went for a body shot and he automatically went for a fucking shovel hook to the face, right? Lights out cold for Anthony Darrell. That could be the same, not the same, but he could drop Benevidez like that. I'm not saying he will 100%. I'm saying there's a possibility that he will drop David Benevidez, but that won't stop David Benevidez. David Benevidez will come even more aggressive after he gets dropped. Might take maybe a round to recover or a few seconds to recover, depends on how bad the shot is. But he's gonna be a little more defensively sound. He's not gonna leave his arms wide open like he does majority of his fights. That's the reason. That's one reason why he also got dropped. Also for bad footing too. His foot placement was not in the right spots. So yeah, that's another scenario that could happen in the fight where he sees Caleb Plant backing up, and Caleb Plant's more of a back foot fighter, so he backs up. He steps in trying to go with either a jab or something like that. Caleb Plant, it might not be a left hook. It might just be a straight right hand. Just goes down the pipe, boom, right in his face. Next thing you know, you see Benevidez on his ass, But that's not going to be the outcome of the fight, because he's just going to get back up and he's going to bring in the pressure, and eventually down the line, because every shot that Caleb Plant throws, he's going to try to deliver 3 times as much, and that's eventually going to break Caleb Plant, and Caleb Plant is going to have no answer for it, and he's going to ultimately get stopped or TKO'd, more like, maybe not KO'd, maybe not lights out, because as big as Benevidez is to Caleb Plant, he is bigger than Caleb Plant. He does not belong in this weight division. He actually belongs in the light heavyweight division. Or, I won't say cruiserweight. Cruiserweight kind of pushing it. But yeah, you probably can say cruiserweight as well. But at least the light heavyweight division. And, he doesn't hit as hard as Caleb Plant does, surprisingly. And you guys will ask me, how do I know this? I know this by hearing the sparring partners for both men, people that have sparred for both men. They know who hits harder. And Caleb Plant hits harder than Benevidez does, which is crazy, right? That Benevidez has more stoppages than Caleb Plant does. But how is that so? the pressure that he brings and the punch output that he brings eventually breaks down his opponents mentally, physically, and they stop. They get stopped. That's why. But Caleb Plant, on the other hand, is a type of fighter that likes to set traps. So tries to lure you in, tries to put you in circumstances where you can't, where he can hit you, but you can't hit him, or if you do hit him, you're not going to hit him as much. You know what I mean? He pretty much countered the shit out of Anthony Dirrell. Anthony Dirrell was not even fast. I think Anthony Dirrell didn't even have the reach advantage over him. See, that's another thing. Anthony Dirrell, I don't think he had a reach advantage over him. But guess who does? Benevidez does. Benevidez has a reach advantage. He's taller than him. He's taller than him, bigger than him, in probably every shape, in every form. Except for the only thing he's not as good as him is the boxing. And maybe, the boxing skill-wise. He doesn't have the best foot movement. He doesn't have the best, probably, punch technique to knock out. Maybe he can deliver better, stronger punches than Caleb Plant, but this technique is lacking when it comes to power punches. He's a typical pressure fighter, but I'm not saying he's stupid when he moves in. He's pretty smart. He's an intelligent pressure fighter. But, yeah, of course, there's defensive lacks. And as I said before, sometimes he throws punches and he just leaves himself wide open. Or even when he puts up a high guard and just stands there, he can get hit with multiple shots. You know, there's ways around the high guard. And I'm pretty sure Caleb Plant's team is looking at it. And what else can I say about this fight? Yeah, I said left hook, but it could be straight right hand. I think I'll probably lean more towards the straight right hand from Caleb Plant doing the damage to actually drop Benevidez to, or even hurt him, to sting him, to push him back a little bit. But that would not change the outcome of the fight, because Benevidez gets hit once. If he gets dropped or even stunned a little bit, he's going to keep pressing the action. And obviously, he's going to be wary of not getting hit with that same shot again. But he's going to work on the body whenever he gets the chance to put Plant by the ropes, which he will put Plant by the ropes. I don't see any way Plant is going to avoid that. He couldn't avoid that with Dirrell. Even though Dirrell was losing almost, I think he lost almost every single round against Plant. Maybe he won one. I'm not too sure. I can't remember exactly, but majority of the rounds was definitely Plant's. There was moments where Dirrell would put him on the ropes, and he would just throw a bunch of shots, and at least three or two, I would say at least two would land, or three would land, or whatever, somewhere in that area. And when he did that, Plant kind of succumbed mentally. And it's not because he lost to Canelo in that fashion, where he got pressurized to, mentally to break. He was always that fighter, even when against Uzgatigi. After the 8th round, I guess he kind of gassed out or something, and his excuse was he didn't sleep enough because he was too focused on the fight, because it was his first title fight, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but that wasn't the case, and we saw that because he definitely got knocked out by Canelo, a smaller man, obviously, very skillful boxer, and a much better boxer. Canelo's much better than when he was when he fought Plant and when he fought Bivol now, because we saw that with the Triple G fight. He learned off of Bivol. He knows how to control the distance better now from fighting Bivol. And I don't think Benevidez... Well, at one point, maybe Benevidez might have had an upper, a chance over him because of the punch output that he has now, because he always has, more like. But the defensive aspect of Canelo is going to the distance control that he's going to do, and the shots he's going to deliver is going to make Benevidez, I think, that's a different fight though, assuming that Benevidez beats Plant, is going to make and obviously Canelo beating John Ryder. That's a no-brainer. I think he Canelo walks through John Ryder. Same thing as this one. I think Benavidez walks through Caleb Plant, but he does get dropped. He is gonna lose rounds, and initially it's gonna be very difficult for him, but afterwards it's just gonna be a breakdown. And physically, mentally, Caleb Plant's gonna break. But yeah, with Canelo's gonna keep a distance with this kid, Benavidez, and he's gonna work on the body, work on the, he's gonna put the pressure on him. That high guard is not going to work efficiently against Canelo, I can tell you that much. It's going to be similar in a fashion to Caleb Smith fight with Canelo, but a lot more defensively sound. Because this is not Caleb Smith, this is Benavidez he's fighting. Yeah. So yeah, punching power-wise, Caleb Plant is harder. But Benavidez has been in there sparring with guys that hit harder than Caleb Plant. And that guy's name is Golovkin. So this ain't something, special for Benavidez to experience that, a new punching power, unless Caleb Plant has discovered some punching power that, some technique that makes his punching just twice as hard, or something like that. I don't know. Now, once he was breaking, for instance, hypothetically, let's make it a karate thing. If once he was breaking wood, now he's breaking concrete with his punches or something like that, then no, there's this fight, that's not the case. I think what happened with Darrell, it was just a shot that was perfect. And he had landed that shot numerous times in that fight. That wasn't the first time. He landed it was just the accumulation of getting hit in that same area eventually took his toll and shut the brain off of Darrell. Turned out the switches, lights out. And that's what happened. So, yeah, this is an obvious pick, and I think you guys should probably even bet on this fight. I'll be realistic, and I'm saying Benavidez definitely takes this. Benavidez stops him from maybe. I don't think it will end in 7. I think it will go from 8 to 10, somewhere around that area, and he stops Caleb Plant with a TKO, where Caleb Plant goes on the canvas, but has a hard time get back up. He's not gonna lights out. There's no lights out, none of that stuff. I don't think that's gonna happen. What else is there to say about this fight that's worth mentioning? I think there's one more thing I had to say, and I just can't recall exactly what's the thing that was in my head about this fight. Yeah, it's about the size thing, because he's bigger and all this other stuff, I've been hearing because Benavidez is so much bigger. Yes, the size matters. That's what she said. The size obviously matters. He is bigger than him. He has longer reach, but it ain't just that. It's the punch output that Benavidez throws. That's the key thing in this fight. And if hypothetically speaking, if he didn't have the punch output, I would favor Caleb Plant to do the box circles around him and touch him up, possibly even stop him, possibly. But the punch output is gonna pretty much destroy Caleb Plant mentally to the point where there will be points in the fight after maybe the 6th or the 5th that he can't even come up with a game plan to set a trap, to hurt what's his name? Benavidez. That's the problem. You know what I mean? And then slowly but surely, he'll try to play the survival game, but it'll be too much for him, and then he'll, as I said, get stopped in the 8th, 9th, or 10th, somewhere around that area. Anyways, that's all I got to say about this fight. It's going to be still pretty interesting. It's really fun to watch. I think the fight with Ryan versus Tank would be probably even more interesting because now that I'm pretty sure that I feel like Benevidez is going to win this fight, it's not as that interesting. But Ryan versus Tank, or Tank versus Ryan, whatever, that's more interesting because of all the shenanigans going on in the fight. It's obviously not fair because of dehydration, all that kind of stuff that Ryan has to go through. But I still I'm still kind of slightly favoring Ryan over that. I think Ryan can pull it off. Ryan is a better boxer than Rolly. And surprisingly, bro, I saw Haney versus Ryan, and I think Ryan in the amateurs beat Haney, and he got robbed. He got straight robbed. I mean, all 3 rounds he was beating him. Maybe 1 round you can give to Haney. That was surprising. I was shocked, actually, seeing that. Anyways, it's a different story. That's a different fight. For next month is the Gypsy. It's been nice talking to y'all. I got Benevidez in this fight by TKO. I'm out.